Welcome to my channel and enjoy this video.
The story begins with two students smoking in the bathroom. The girl asks the boy not to blow smoke in her direction, but he rudely tells her to shut up. The suffocating cigarette smoke fills the air, and the floor is covered in spit, but they don't seem to care. The boy, Logan, turns to another boy who is also present and tells him to use his fat body to block the teacher if she comes in. When the other boy doesn't respond, Logan gets angry, demanding an answer. The boy appears so scared that he can't even muster a word, his fear rendering him speechless. Logan placed his shoe on the other boy's face and demanded that he speak, but the boy couldn't resist Logan's actions. Logan then kicked him to the floor, warning him not to let the teacher catch them again. The boy, referred to as Logan's pet, was always treated harshly by Logan, who did whatever he wanted to him. Later, when they were in class, Logan continued to mistreat the boy, using him like a punching bag and hitting him in the stomach. Logan mockingly called him Pikachu and ordered him to get up while the boy cried in pain. Other students teased Daniel by calling him Pikachu. One boy even asked Logan if Daniel was his Pokémon now. Logan treated Daniel like Pikachu, ordering him to do a thunderbolt attack. Daniel, feeling humiliated, bent to the ground and followed Logan's instructions. He felt so embarrassed that he wished he could disappear. The other students watched, feeling relieved as they confirmed their own social standing by witnessing his humiliation. Daniel thought that if only he were a little stronger, this wouldn't be happening. Another boy then called out to Logan, asking if he could borrow Pikachu for once. Today is his 100-day anniversary with Hayaji, so he wants to do something special for her. After that, he put a flower bouquet on his back and asked him to give it to Hayaji. When he is crawling through the class, other students make his videos and laugh at him. He then reaches class 4, where the girl asks why he crawls like that. Daniel explained to the girl that he was following Logan's orders and wanted to show her something. He offered her a bouquet and congratulated her on their 100-day anniversary, adding "Thunderbolt" as Logan had instructed. The girl called him pathetic and told him not to come next time. Daniel felt deeply ashamed for being humiliated in front of the girls. That same night, when he went back home, he asked his mother if she had cooked ramen for him. He gets angry that she has put an egg in it and says this is why he is getting fatter. He then asks his mother if he can transfer to another school, which makes her surprised. He makes an excuse that the kids at his school study so hard that his rank is so low, but she replies it was so hard for her to find a job there. The rent is also reasonable there, so she can't move elsewhere. She also says if he transferred, then he would be far from his friends. Daniel gets angry after thinking about them and starts shouting at his mother. He says he just wants to study and doesn't care about friends, or it isn't his fault that they have no money. He is only strong in front of his mom and starts slamming the door forcefully. He asks her what she has ever done for him, but she doesn't have any answer to his question. At night, he cries badly in his bed and apologizes to her mom for behaving like that. She stays awake the whole night thinking about him. The next morning, he didn't want to go to school since everything would start again. He has bruises on his hands because of the door slamming last night. He thinks he may be stronger than he thought, but he can't beat Logan yet. He closes his eyes and thinks when he opens them. He wishes he was in an action movie. Meanwhile, Logan and his friend appear there and ask him to run to the school. He obeys them and starts running while Logan asks him to lose some weight since he looks like a pig. He asks him to get his P class ready for him. Logan always wears his P uniform, and he tells his mom that he lost it, so she buys him another one. On the other hand, his mother goes to the staff room and talks about his transfer. The principal shows Daniel's makesheets and says no school will take him with these grades. He observes her condition, which looks pretty cheap, which means she is so poor. At the same time, the students take Daniel as a target and try to hit him with a football. Logan kicks the football toward him, but avoids it out of fear. Logan comes near him and says he told him to let it hit him. He has to pay $10, and the next is Mi Kim from the soccer team. The girls support him, and he throws the football in style. At that moment, Daniel thinks he can die if it hits him. In the meantime, the ball reaches him and hits his face badly. He starts bleeding, but at that moment, he isn't worried about not the pain or broken glasses. He is concerned about Logan losing money. Logan comes to him angrily and asks why he avoided his shot, but got hit by the other. He requests Logan to leave him, and he will pay for him. Logan leaves him, and Daniel says he will pay his money, but he slaps his face. He was forced to see here and there because of slaps, and the last scene he saw right after a crowd of onlookers was his mother rushing toward him. It was the first time he had ever seen her that angry. She comes to him, asks if he is okay, and scolds Logan for hitting his son. Daniel wonders what she is doing there, and she comes to him and asks about his health. The girl observes he is his mom, and she seems very angry. Logan tells her they are just playing a game, but she rushes toward him to beat him. Daniel observes the girls watching them and wants to make their own video. His mother still holds Logan and asks him to go to the homeroom teacher with her. Daniel shouts at her and asks her to stop saying she is embarrassing him. She gets embarrassed, and he says many awful things to his one and only mother. Daniel apologizes to Logan instead of his mother. He asks Logan to leave his mother and thinks he is the world's biggest piece of trash. The same night, he is so embarrassed that he doesn't want to go home but is hungry. He can see the bills piled up again, and he enters the home thinking he will just slip into his room and eat a snack. But his mother is still there waiting for him, and he asks her if she ate. She calls him and says they need to talk, and this is what he doesn't want. He is then shocked when she asks him to transfer to any other school. She hasn't cared for him well enough, but can't come with him because of work. He is shocked and wonders why she is doing this suddenly. He observes that she knew all this but pretended not to. She smiles, says she will take care of his expenses, and asks him to trust her and go. He starts crying, and all of his mixed emotions get tangled up. Tears come pouring out of his eyes, and he is confused whether he should leave her or save himself. He hated that he was running away and ignoring his mom's burden. However, he decides to transfer to another school. It's a low-level vocational school, but anywhere is better than there. On his way, he thinks he will make many friends this time. There is another thought running in his mind that he chose to run away like this instead of fighting. He reaches the place with mountains in the surroundings, and the place seems to be in a very bad condition. He is still happy that he has left all toxic people behind. He says hello to his neighbor's lady and thinks no one knows him, and he doesn't have to fear tomorrow anymore. He feels like he has been reborn, like a larva that waits 7 years to be born as a cicada. It's now his turn to be that cicada. He is enjoying that place with a determination to change himself. He then goes to a barber shop for a haircut, but isn't confident to say so. The barber asks him to get the seat, and he will give him 2-block style. He sits on the chair, and the barber says he will do his best. He starts his haircut and asks him to remove his glasses. After some time, he looks at himself in the mirror and wonders if this is really him. The barber smiles and exclaims that he did his best. His appearance has changed, and he looks pretty cool. He feels this for the first time in his life, and it looks like everyone is watching him. He sees himself in the mirror repeatedly and wonders if he looks different. He also looks a little tougher, and it looks like he can fight. Suddenly, he feels a girl watching him, and he gets embarrassed at thinking he watched him doing weird things. They just stare at each other with weird expressions. Meanwhile, a boy calls the girl from behind and asks her if she waited long for him. Daniel wonders if this boy is her boyfriend, and the boy asks the girl if she knows him. The girl asks her to go from there, but he gets angry when he sees Daniel smiling at her. The boy asks him how old he is, and he replies that he is 17 years old. They both seem to be of the same age, while the girl asks him to leave. The boy leaves, saying he is lucky today but won't forget his face. The girl smiles and apologizes, while Daniel is relieved he has survived. He then realizes that she smiles at him, which means she is interested in him, while the boys are just pretending to be tough in front of her. He thinks he can't change one bit if he just steps back now. He runs behind them and finds them after a while, saying they should try to clear up the misunderstanding. He asks them if they should grab a coffee and talk while sitting. The girl tries to stop, but the boy says he won't touch him. Daniel is happy that his plan is working. Suddenly, the boy comes to him and slaps his face forcefully. He then warns him not to show himself again and punches his face again. The people started making their videos, and he was more worried about the sound of the phone recording. The same night, he is at home, watching a video that went viral on Facebook. He is a Facebook star now, and all of his confidence and determination that he tried so hard to get disappeared just like that. He has no friends, and his comfy place is now filled with appalling loneliness. To overcome it, he began to sob endlessly, and he was so exhausted from bawling that he fell asleep. After a bit of sleep, he felt lighter and got up to go to the washroom. He goes to wash his hands and observes his eyes in the mirror, and his eyes are not as swollen as he thought. His eyes seemed perfectly fine, and he could see a man in the mirror who was perfect from everywhere. He is so shocked to see himself that he couldn't make a sound. He barely takes a step but falls to the ground, and he wonders if he is watching a dream. While dealing with the panic alone, he saw something even more shocking. He can see himself still sleeping in the fat body. He is sure that the sleeping body belongs to him, but the Wonder Boy is also him. He can feel his toned muscles so vivid and alive in the new body. He checks his phone and tries to Google this situation, but there is no information online. He wonders if he should call the police for his mom, but the police will make things much worse. He also decides not to tell his mother for now. He guesses that only one person can help him solve this, and that person is himself. He speaks to himself formally and asks his other version to wake up, but he doesn't listen to him. He gets tired and falls asleep near him. After some time, the fat Daniel wakes up and is surprised to see his fat body again. He thinks he was just watching a dream and saw himself in a wonderful shape. He feels sorry that it was just a dream and gets up for the bathroom. But he is shocked to see his smart version sleeping beside him. He wonders if that is really him, and what he saw earlier wasn't a dream. He feels a thrill of horror wavering inside him. He tries to wake him up, but he doesn't respond. He tries to wake him up repeatedly, but he doesn't respond at all. After some time, the smarter boy wakes up, and this time, Fat Daniel again falls asleep. He repeated this all night, but never had a chance to talk to his other version. Piops says humans are adaptive creatures, and it just took him a few days to accept this impractical reality. He has no idea why this body was created, and he can't tell anyone about this. The fact is that if he falls asleep, he wakes up in the other body. When one body is awake, the other sleeps, and this process repeats itself again and again. He learned 4 things about this situation over the vacation. The first thing is that when he sleeps, he won't wake up by himself, and no matter how long he waits, his body won't wake up. Second, if he forces himself to wake up, the other body automatically falls asleep. The third thing is that the sleeping body feels hungry and must go to the bathroom, too, since it's alive. He tried to resist sleeping but eventually got tired and fell asleep. After that, he decides to change his body every 12 hours since he needs a good sleep schedule for his health. The fourth thing is that his consciousness is active 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, but when he changes to a sleeping body, his well-rested brain feels so refreshed. He thinks if he kills one body, then the other one will survive, but he isn't brave enough to try. Moreover, there is no guarantee of survival. However, time flew past, and suddenly, it was time to go to the new school, and he was worried about how he would go to school. He remembers Logan and other people by the name of school, but he gets scared one more time. The next day, 2 girls praise a boy who has recently dyed his hair and looks handsome. One of the girls exclaims that there are a lot of hunks in the practical music department, and Eli in the beauty department is super cute. In the meantime, Daniel passes through the place, and the girls and the boys are shocked to see him. He thinks about the uniform that he bought recently to fit this body. The girl comes near to him and says hello, while Daniel just hopes that no one bullies him now. The second semester has started, and the students discuss the hot weather in September. One of the students is bullying a boy and asks him to make a breeze for him while the other students make fun of him. The boy feels embarrassed and humiliated and wants to die at the moment. A girl calls them, says she is feeling cold because of the air, and asks them to stop. Meanwhile, the teacher enters the class and informs the students about a new transfer student, and the students wonder if he is a girl or a boy. Soon, they are shocked to see Daniel, who introduces himself as Daniel Park. He feels shy because all of them are staring at him. The teacher asks him to sit, and his appearance causes a stir in the class. The girls' group is impressed by his beauty, while the boys are jealous. Daniel is still underconfident and thinks it's the first day of school, and he must get close to whoever is sitting next to him. Last year was a nightmare for him since he was bullied badly. He puts a big smile on his face and says hello to the boy sitting beside him. But he is shocked to see the boy who beat him earlier in the market. He doesn't recognize him and thinks he is handsome, while Daniel is surprised that things have gone wrong since day one. In the meantime, a girl gets up and comes to him to introduce herself as Zoe Park, and she always does the same thing when she sees someone good looking. All the other girls get jealous of her when she starts her conversation with Daniel. At the same time, Daniel is shocked because it was the first time since he was born that a girl flirted with him. Meanwhile, the boy calls Zoe and asks her to stop flirting and sit. Suddenly, he observes that his girlfriend is also looking toward Daniel. G gets jealous and thinks he hates that transfer student. However, as a specialty high school, his new school focuses more on practical training and work experience programs than on going to college. They had so much freedom that it was a nightmare for other school students. But this school was known for having many K-pop artist trainees, models, and popular idols. Today, at lunchtime, everyone focuses on Daniel and asks him multiple questions about his likes and dislikes. Meanwhile, Daniel is happy that he only has to get his own food and not serve others. The boys also focus on him and get to know that he is in the fashion department and is so handsome. 3 boys come to him and say they need to talk to him after lunch. Daniel is scared because he thinks they also want to bully him, just like they did earlier. He always gets beat in a place like this. He goes to those boys, and one of them asks him if his name is Daniel. He thinks he has no money since he spent all his money on this uniform, but is shocked when one of them offers him a cigarette and also praises his looks. He is extremely shocked at their friendly behavior and wonders what he should do now. He thinks if he says he can't smoke, then they will think he is a wuss. So he replies that he quit smoking and doesn't know any girls. The boys are getting pressured by his looks and think he is pretty imposing, while Daniel is happy that he is saved from them. It's just that he got so nervous that his face froze while the boys thought he must work out, which means he has some nerves. After lunch, he falls asleep on his desk while the girls praise his beauty, even while sleeping. Actually, he wakes up in the other body when he falls asleep. The fat body thinks he must have fallen asleep at school since that body couldn't sleep for long. He again goes to sleep but is not sure he can sleep when he has slept all day. In order to switch bodies, he has to sleep by his own efforts. At the same time, the girl comes to him to wake him up, but the other body can't sleep because of the tension. After a while, he sleeps, and his other body wakes up instantaneously. He gets scared and wonders if that girl forced him to wake him up. The girl looks toward him with affection, and Daniel thinks she can't get any hope from him. After that, he was able to get a night job at a convenience store, and the other Daniel slept while he worked. Yesterday, after school, he went to the store where he saw a job ad. The timing was from 9 to 7 in the morning. He went to the shop owner and asked if he was still hired for the night shift. He tells him that he can work all night, and the shopkeeper is happy to see the handsome part-timer, and it will increase his earnings and the number of female customers. He hires him immediately, asks if he can start immediately, and asks about his salary expectations. Daniel tells him that he is looking for a job for his friend, and later, he is shocked to see Fat Daniel there. He rejects him and says he doesn't hire high schoolers because the students don't have a clue about the names of cigarette brands. Daniel tells him the names of all cigarette brands, and this is how he managed to get hired with a different salary. He now has 2 bodies, so he needs expenses for 2 persons. His day body is currently sleeping, and his old body is active from 8 in the evening to 8 in the morning. He is living 12 hours per body to protect each's health. He is still worried that his new body is disappearing again. The daytime is like a beautiful dream, and he returns to the cold reality at night. Meanwhile, the same school students appeared and asked him for 4 packs of cigarettes. Daniel wonders what he should do because he can't sell cigarettes to high schoolers. He asks if he can see their ID cards, and one of them shows his ID card, which says he was born in 1984. Daniel says the man doesn't look like him, and he replies that he has gained weight. He refuses to give them cigarettes, which makes them angry. Before they can say anything, their 4th friend calls them and asks them to go somewhere else. He recognizes Daniel that he is the same boy he beat some days ago. Daniel gets scared to see him, and the others ask him if he knows him. After that, he brings a lot of bottles and says they should forgive and forget each other. He also stares at him and says he is not paying him anything. His friends comment that he is in a bad mood because his girlfriend took him down because she has eyes on the transfer student. Zach gets furious by his imagination, which leads to Daniel and Mira's wedding. Daniel seems scared and thinks he can get fired at this rate. Before he can say something, Zach calls him and punches his face badly. On that day, he got beat up by Zach again and had a bad temper. They remove his pants and take his photo in case he reports them, and they will spread the picture. He was forced to agree to forget the whole thing. However, he is relieved that he didn't sell them the smokes since he would have been fired on his first day. He thinks he can't rely on his mother, and he should call her. She picks up his calls, seems in a good mood, and asks him about his health. She asks him what he is doing this late at night, and he replies that he was just walking. He asks her not to worry about him, and he is having a good time. She asks him if he wants money, but he refuses her, saying he is fine. She is doing a night shift and asks him to study hard and not to worry about money. She then hangs up the call, saying she is going for a walk and heading home. This is how the evening nightmare ended, and it was day again. He wakes up in his new body, and he feels his body so much light. He thinks he can fly with his muscular, light body. He then goes to the school, where all the girls praise him and say his figure looks like a cartoon hero. They think he might be so happy to come to school with that face, while Daniel thinks he hates coming to school. When he entered the class in this new body, he heard other students talking about what Zach was doing last night and how they beat up that guy. Zach says he doesn't feel proud of hitting that pig. They call Daniel and tell him the same story. They also want him to show his picture, and Zach thinks that if he sees it, he might be scared of him. Daniel gets angry after seeing his nude picture and clenches his fist, thinking they are making fun of him. The girl surprisingly asks if they made his nude pictures, and they ask her if she wants to see them. Daniel can't do anything and is just listening like always. They praise Zach for his lightning-fast punch. He cannot see his fist. He asks them to stop and says he is not proud of this. Mira listens to their conversation and says she hates this type of thing, and he is always fighting. She tells her friend that Zach invited her to a movie a few days ago, but he got in a fight in the street again. Her friend replies that she is not shocked because Zach was a rising boxer in middle school. Zach brags that he is not proud of using a straight punch to leave him groggy and that he should have thrown a jab. Daniel wonders why he has to sit next to him of all people. Meanwhile, two girls come to him and ask if he has a girlfriend, but another girl calls him and asks him to go to a chill party with him. After that, they start making fun of Fat Daniel's mother that she must be a piggy, too. A girl asks what they will do if he brings his mother, and then a boy laughs and says he will take her naked photos, too. He makes her fun of if she is happy after giving birth to him. Daniel is listening to their conversation and thinks his mother is getting insulted because of him when she does her best. He calls those boys and says they have gone too far, and those words unintentionally come out of his mouth. Everyone is shocked at his comments, and Zach is angry because he insulted him again in front of Mira. He kicks his table and asks if he is making a joke while Daniel gulps out of fear. Soon, the news spread around the school that a fight was happening in the fashion department. All the students gather outside their class, hearing about Zach and Daniel's fight. Daniel is scared because he doesn't know about this situation. Zach asks him to get up, so he does, but he has no intentions of fighting. He thinks he will get hit again. Zach asks him to come to him and fight, and the other students make fun that he doesn't know how to fight, and they are scared of him for no reason. Another lazy boy gets up and thinks Daniel is not a fighter. Zach observes that his posture is poor, and he doesn't know how to fight, so he will knock him out with just one punch. He is about to hit him when the lazy boy gets up and grabs his hand. His grip is so incredibly strong that Zach is unable to leave his hand. He pushes him back and jumps upon Daniel to fight while standing there, seeing him approaching him. Since he was little, he has always been hit on his left or right cheek. He could see the opponent coming, but his body was so slow that he couldn't move as he had intended. However, this time, he moved his face to the other side and dodged Zach's punch. The students praised him for his fast response and for dodging Zach's punch. Zach and his friends were also shocked at his action, and Daniel thinks today was the first time his body followed his will. Zach has always been very fast. Everyone has praised him from the start. When he was 5 years old, He was the new kindergarten star. He uses his powers in elementary school and middle school. He always won the boxing championship. After entering high school, the students asked him if he was the runner-up in middle school boxing and warned him not to look down on them. He beat them well and took them under him. He has always been speedy, so life was really easy for him. But now, he found someone faster than him. He tries to attack him again, but Daniel again dodges him. The students wonder who he is and how he avoided every attack from Zach. Zach is also surprised because he isn't just good at watching, but is ready, his shoulders moving. He thinks Daniel must have a lot of experience, and he is humiliated because Mira is watching their fight. He then tries to attack him from the front so he can't dodge him. His hand is about to touch his face when Daniel grabs his hand from the front. Everyone is shocked to see that he anticipated his punch and has obviously seen his share of fisticuffs. They think he must be a real fighter, while Daniel is sweating out of fear because it's getting harder for him to dodge. The students comment on them and say that he is the second best player in the school, but Zach is still the best. As soon as Daniel sees them, he remembers the words they talked about his mother, and explosive emotions come up from deep inside. Zach tries to attack him again, but he dodges him again and thinks of himself as the master of dodging. He remembers when Logan bullied him in his last school, and he punched him badly. Logan tells his friend to aim for the solar plexus for the first punch, so he follows those instructions and attacks Zach with all of his might. Everyone in the class is shocked to see this and wonders how one punch can take him down. Daniel is also surprised at his capabilities since it was his first time. Everyone outside the class cheers up for his one punch, and they also know that he doesn't want to fight but has no choice. Zach shouts at his friends and says he saw everyone who smiled at him. He can see Mira is impressed by him and is getting jealous badly. For the first time, someone saw him with fear, just like he used to look at others. The boy thinks he is the same as others and that he will bully him in the future. Later, the three of them plan to get upon Daniel at once. One of them grabs him from behind, and the other two take the front. The lazy boy from the class is listening to their conversation when one of them says he will grab his arm with his Herculean strength. They plan to beat him up after school, and the lazy boy hears all. At the same time, a boy in the vocal and dance department is informed about the fight and that the transferred student is better looking than him. Ile Jiang, who works in the beauty department, also heard about this and thought of making him a hair model based on his good-looking rumors. Yunti Li, the architecture department, also hears the news and thinks he is as bad as Eli, and they both are going down. At the same time, a student rushes toward the bathroom when he passes by the lazy boy, Jay, and thinks he is taciturn. However, he is shocked to see that the three students have lay there in an injured state. The same night, the day body sleeps and the night body wakes up. He thinks what happened today was a dream, and he landed a blow for the first time. He would have no chance if it were his old body. Many thoughts like this whirled around in his mind today, but he is busy earning a living, so he goes to the store for his night shift. He can observe how people feel when they look at him, and they always give him strange looks. People judge him by his first impression and judge him by his looks alone. They look at him differently, and he could have lived without knowing it if he didn't have that fit body. Later, at night, when he has no customers, he gets bored and thinks he should lose some pounds. He starts working out and thinks he will not eat dumplings. He is working very hard when a gorgeous girl enters the shop. Daniel thinks she will look at him like he is an insect. But he is surprised when she talks to him nicely and says she works out a lot too, just like him. She apologizes to him for making him feel bad. She gives him a drink and says he must be tired, so he should drink this. Daniel thinks there are also good people out there, and he wishes that the world is full of that type of person. At the same time, the three students and a girl are walking on the road and wondering how they can go back to school, where they are being humiliated. The girl asks them about Zach and says she is going home without him. The boys don't listen to him, think about Jay, and think that he won't spread rumors about them. They also faced another scared student and took his nude photos so that he couldn't tell anyone about them. One of them calls him while he is sleeping peacefully in his house. He gets up on his calls and asks why he didn't answer him right away. They call him at some place, and Jiho replies that he will be there in a short time. He runs toward the convenience store and is running at his full speed. Soon, he reaches where they are all waiting for him. The girl asks him about his number while they ask her to leave, but she is not going. One of them asks Jiho about what he saw today, and he says he took so long to pick up, so he is out of battery. They ask him to go to the convenience store and steal a charger for them. One of them smiles and exclaims that he knows their secret, so they will now know his secret. Jiho is extremely scared and wonders what he should do now. However, he enters the store after a while and thinks he has never swiped anything before. He meets Daniel there, and they both seem surprised to see each other. Daniel can feel his pathetic expression and feel that he was sent there forcefully. Jiho then asks him about the chargers, while Daniel can tell by just his looks that he is on the same level as him and feels sorry for him. He shows him the place where the chargers are, and Jiho wonders if he got caught, then he would go to jail. In the meantime, Daniel picks up a charger in his hand, puts it under his shirt, and runs away, saying he will pay him next time. Suddenly, he gets stuck in his own arms and falls to the ground. Daniel comes to him and asks if he is hurt, and if he just goes, then he will be in trouble. Jiho is surprised that he is a nice guy. Meanwhile, the other students reach there and ask Jiho what he is doing, and they ask him to steal the charger. Daniel is also angry to see them and wonders what they are doing there. One of them suggests they should have a loser battle and see who wins among them. They make a plan and ask each other to spread the news about their fight. Otherwise, they will spread their nude pictures. At the same time, the architecture student is nearby and can hear the word fight. They take them outside and ask them to fight, and whoever wins gets their nude pictures deleted. They ask them to fight, but both of them stay still. They get angry and are getting bored since they aren't fighting. One of them comes forward and says he will make it interesting. He exclaims that if Jiho wins, then he doesn't need to serve them, and Daniel thinks he can escape him if he beats him up. Jiho rushes toward him to attack, and Daniel doesn't move from his place because he wants him to win. He gets hit daily anyway, so it's not a big deal for him. Other students are enjoying the scene, but suddenly, the architecture student, Yunti, appears there and asks them to stop. They are surprised to see him, while Daniel is seeing him for the first time in his life. Jiho recognizes him when Yunti suddenly grabs one of them by his neck and asks why they are bullying the students. He lifts him up in the air, and Jiho and Daniel are relieved that they have survived. Inuti asks them if they know him from his school. Jiho tells him that he is from the fashion department, which is the same class as the transfer student who knocked down Zach. He asks Jiho to tell the new guy not to screw around while he thinks that the rumors about Yunti are true and that he protects the weaklings. The next morning, he brings lunch for all of them and sets a table for 4 students who asked him to do this. Meanwhile, the new guy, Daniel, enters the canteen, and all the girls rush toward him. Jiho is surprised by his popularity among girls, but he comes toward Jiho. He asks him to eat together since they are classmates. Jiho is surprised by his demand but sits with him unintentionally. Meanwhile, Zach enters with his friends, and Jiho gets scared to see them and wonders what they are doing there. Zach gets angry to see him and wonders if he is trying to make him look bad. Suddenly, he hears some students talking about Daniel and saying that he took down Zach yesterday. Zach turns back to see that they are the vocal and dance department students, Vinjin and his friends. He calls Zach and says he heard that he lost to that boy. He also makes fun of his friends. Zach replies that he had indeed lost to that pretty boy, but he could probably take him. He calls his friends rats and says they aren't normal either. Vinjin gets angry and asks him if he wants to die, but Zach punches him and asks if he wants to try him. Vinjin thinks he is really fast, and if he had tried to hit him, then he would have thrown him away. Zach thinks the same, that he would have caught him if he had hit him. Meanwhile, Daniel and Jiho are watching them in a bad temper. Suddenly, he sees Yunti from the architecture department, the same boy who saved him yesterday, appearing. He calls and says hello, but he doesn't recognize him for his different appearance, and his friend tells him he is the new guy. However, he recognizes Jiho from yesterday and wonders if Daniel is dragging around the weaklings. He thinks that handsome boys are always bad. Yunti asks him if he knows him, and Daniel can feel different vibes from yesterday. He puts his hand on his shoulder and asks him not to screw around, even if he is good-looking and strong. The other students are surprised to see him, and they acknowledge his power so no one can take the risk of messing with him. Unate has grabbed his shoulder tightly, and it is hurting him while he thinks he is withstanding it, and most guys are already on their knees. Suddenly, he is shocked when Daniel keeps his hand away and apologizes to him, saying he thought he was someone else. Everyone is shocked that he shook off Yunti's grip with one hand, and he is also surprised since he heard Daniel was faster than Zack, but he didn't expect him to be that strong. He acknowledges his power while Daniel is scared inside and wonders what he should do since he messed up with the wrong guy. Zack and Vinjin are surprised to see that he just sits there grinning like it's not a big deal, and they think the situation can get out of hand. Yunate thinks he should teach him a lesson since he thinks this handsome guy is really bad, while his friends think if he lost against Daniel, then it would be a disgrace to the burned knuckles. This is a lose-lose, and there are so many eyes on them right now, but Inuti has decided to punish him. His friend interrupts and says he can't let him fight, so he tries to negotiate the situation. Yunti tries to tell him that he doesn't need to worry about him but can't say so. Vinjin interrupts and says they missed a show, while Daniel is happy that their fight ended and asks them to eat with him. The students think the new guy is the real deal since he stood up to Yunti, but at the same time, he is so sweet and nice. Meanwhile, Yunti calls Jihu and asks him not to surrender to guys like him, but to believe in himself. Jihu thinks he got it all wrong since Daniel was not bullying him. Meanwhile, a student from the fashion department, Eli, observes him and thinks he is handsome and kind. He thinks Daniel may let him cut his hair. After some time, the three friends smoke in the bathroom, and one suggests getting close to Daniel. The other asks if he thinks it's better if they get along. They need to have him make up with Zack so that their problem can be sorted out, but the real problem is how they will do this. Later, they go to Daniel and tell him about a get-together and invite him there. Daniel is shocked when they say that friends should be acquainted, and for the first time in his life, he is invited to a get-together for friends. He has always dreamt of this life with friends and thinks his dream is about to come true. He has been so lonely till now, but he accepts their invitation and says he will see them at 7. He seems very happy and thinks they can take sticker photos, too. They are happy that he agrees to their invitation, while Daniel is happy that he can hang out for a couple of hours. He is sure letting his other body sleep longer won't be a big deal. Meanwhile, a girl is sitting at a distance, listening to their conversation and thinking about joining them tonight. At night, he has also created a chat room with friends, and it's like a dream come true for him. His chat rooms used to be nothing but prisons, and he really wanted to die at that time. However, he reaches a dark ally and wonders why they want to eat at a place like this. It seems so run down, and the restaurant is on the 2nd floor, and Daniel is so lost in his imagination that he thinks it is one of those hidden places for gourmets. He will eat, have fun, and take some sticker pictures. He reaches outside a door, and behind this door are his friends. He opens the door, but the thing caught his eye on the other side is an unpleasant, hazy place. They are all smoking, and Daniel observes that nothing good is happening. Zack is also surprised to see him there since he is unaware of his arrival. One of them asks him to come and sit, saying he must be hungry. The girl is also there and says she came herself and just happened to meet them. They offer him food and ask him to sit next to Zack while Daniel wonders if it is okay to sit with them. He feels like he is trespassing on a forbidden territory. However, he sits with them, and one of them offers him alcohol, saying they have been waiting to drink with him. He grabs the glass and says he doesn't drink, but they don't listen to him and ask him to drink it. One of them makes his fun, saying he must be a poor drinker. Meanwhile, Zack is drinking many shots and seems angry. The girl laughs and says she is also a poor drinker, but no one responds. They are using abusive language, and Daniel feels like he is stuck among them. He wonders if this is any way for a student to behave. After that, they start the conversation and ask where he lives, and Daniel replies that he lives alone. Zack gets angry that he lives alone, which means his life is so enjoyed, and he starts drinking again. They ask him if they can come to his home to hang out, so he makes an excuse that he lives with one of his friends. They ask if his friend goes to their school, and Daniel replies that he is a dropout student. He tells them that his friend works at night and sleeps during the day, so it might not be good if he brings his friends. Zack gets angry that he has someone on his side and takes another shot. Meanwhile, the girl calls him and says his clothes are a bit big and asks him if he likes to wear oversized styles. Daniel replies that he is wearing his friend's clothes and he is a little big. They assume his friend's figure is in their mind and think he must be a chubby gangster. They think Daniel is more dangerous than they thought. Meanwhile, the owner of that place appears there and asks them if anyone else is coming. Otherwise, they just stay quiet. She asks them to stay out of trouble since they are all underage. Suddenly, she is shocked to see a handsome boy there. She asks them who this pretty boy is and says his husband passed away 10 years ago, so he is present from heaven to cure his loneliness. She comes to Daniel, asks if he wants anything, and asks him to pick anything he wants for free. Meanwhile, the girl gets jealous, grabs Daniel by his arm, and asks him to eat from her plate. The owner ties up her hair and tries to look cute and hot so that Daniel turns toward her. Meanwhile, other boys are watching them shockingly fighting over one boy. She asks Daniel if that girl is his girlfriend, and he feels stuck between those girls and doesn't answer any one of them. Meanwhile, Zach is unaware of what is happening there and is busy drinking. After a while, some adults notice their presence and assume they look like school kids. One of them likes the girl, but his girlfriend abuses him to look toward the other side. He doesn't like her appearance and thinks she is so annoying. Meanwhile, Zach gets up and takes another shot when his friend calls him and asks him to slow down. Daniel is also surprised to see his condition and thinks he will never be able to drink. Zach gets up and takes his name so loudly that he gets scared, wondering if he will hit him again. But he is shocked when Zach praises his beauty and says he is really jealous of him. He asks him to be his friend and hugs him tightly. Others are surprised, and one of them exclaims that he gets troublesome when he is drunk. He then sits beside him and tells him about Mira and his love for her. Meanwhile, the girl offers him a drink, and he takes his first shot. He thought it was water but spits out when he realizes that it's alcohol. He starts crying and apologizes to his mother that he drank it. He has committed a crime while his friends insist he drink more. Meanwhile, the adults sitting on the other side explain that the kids nowadays have no manners, so they should teach them a lesson. Daniel listens to their conversation, thinks they are frightening, and wonders if they are talking loudly on purpose. He thinks they should keep it down, but his friends seem angry and are ready to fight. The woman makes fun of the girl, saying she is wearing a vulgar dress, and Daniel is shocked since she is also wearing such a dress. Daniel asks them to calm down. Otherwise, they can get into a fight, but she makes fun of their woman's flat chest. The woman gets angry about this and asks her what she said just now, but she tries to act innocent. Daniel is scared and thinks they are in trouble now. They start abusing each other and give each other scary looks. The girl calls Daniel and asks him to fight them for her, but he feels like his eyesight is flattering and his heart is running. He feels so strange. He realizes that these are all the symptoms of being drunk. Meanwhile, one of the adults gets up, saying today's kids have no respect, and asks whom they are looking at. He comes toward them, ignoring that there are 5 of them, but he doesn't care. They have Zach, but he doesn't seem to be conscious. They look toward Daniel, but his condition also seems poor because of the alcohol. They smile and think they are shot with Daniel, and he can fight for them. The second adult also comes to them and asks them for their ID. He grabs one of them by his hair and is about to hit her when Daniel grabs his hand and asks what he is doing. The adult thinks he must be their leader and asks if he wants to pick a fight with them. He calls his friends and says they are being disrespectful. He tells them that it is no fun to hit people. Zach is still unconscious and is crying without any reason. He asks one of them to give him his phone, and when he gives it, he breaks it with his fist, saying they always take dirty pictures with that phone. They are shocked that he just crushes that phone with one hand. Meanwhile, Daniel thinks it's all their fault, and they should apologize to those adults. He goes to one of them but gets scared to see him, and Daniel thinks he should apologize. He doesn't want to make this any worse and picks up a bottle, thinking people usually raise a glass to apologize. The bottle slips out of his hands and breaks, which creates more misunderstanding. Daniel tells the man he wants to pour him a drink, but his hands get slippery. He is embarrassed, but those men are dead scared of him, thinking he wants to attack them. His friends are also scared to see this, thinking he just made a weapon, but it looks like an accident. They think Daniel is an evil genius and is more dangerous than they thought. He again apologizes to them, but still holds that broken bottle in his hand. The men seem scared, But when one of them sees his girlfriend leaving, he shouts at Daniel and asks if he knows who he is. He asks them about their school, but they lie that they don't attend school. Zach interrupts and says they are first-year fashion students at J High School. They are surprised that these students are just freshmen, and the dangerous boy is also a high schooler. Daniel thinks they messed up badly, but puts a fake smile on his face and thinks if they mess with the bull, then they get the horns. The adults agree to give them a break since they apologize to them, but also warn them, saying they won't forget their faces. Soon, they left the restaurant, and Daniel's friends praised him for his bravery. Daniel doesn't understand what happened, but is relieved they left without fighting. After that, those men come outside, and one of them asks the others to call their men, and they will teach those high schoolers a lesson. The man exclaims that they should be happy they didn't report them since they were all underage. After a while, 3 boys appear there and call them with respect. They salute them, which is the Giant High School's traditional school, and the boys are in their 3rd year. Their leader is Yong Lee, and the man asks him to borrow his bike. Yong Lee replies that he doesn't have a bike, but doesn't believe him and says he is lying. Yang tells him that Duchi went off on it a while ago, and he is shocked to hear that name. He wonders why he is back. That guy is no less than a monster. Yang thinks this man looks younger than Dooch and exclaims that Dooch hasn't changed with age and stole a kid's bike. However, he asked him if he knew anyone from the fashion department at J High School. Yang replies that there is one guy from the fashion department who hates mixing with those crazies. The man orders him to bring that boy to him, and he asks him why he wants to meet him. The man replies that there is a freshman there who needs to teach a lesson. On the other hand, they are still there, and Daniel seems very drunk. They are having their dinner while Daniel wonders why these guys are proud of getting in fights. They are happy that Daniel fought for them, while he wonders how this can be fun for them. One of them puts his hand on his shoulders and asks him not to worry about his busted phone, saying that he will just steal Ji-Ho's phone. He wonders why they harass others with no consideration. Suddenly, he gets angry and stares at one of them to let him go. They are shocked to see his expressions, while Daniel thinks alcohol makes him a different person. Alcohol allowed his deepest held thoughts to come outside, and he asked them if they knew how he felt. They don't understand what he is talking about and wonder if he is warning them. Meanwhile, Zach interrupts them and asks them not to bother him, while they want to beat him when he is drunk. Daniel is thirsty, so he takes 1 glass of water but is shocked to see that alcohol is still in it. Drinking more makes him sleepy, and he is falling asleep there. On the other side, the fat body wakes up shockingly since if one of his bodies falls asleep, the other wakes up. Because it was his other body, his mind is crystal clear about what happened today, and he promises himself not to drink ever again. He lays down thinking he needs to sleep and needs to get back to his other body. He has been sleeping all day and now can't sleep at all. After that, he falls asleep and sees a dream in which Logan apologizes. He then sees his mother, who seems very rich, and tells him she puts 100 eggs in his ramen. He also tops off his class again, and Daniel wonders if it is really him, but soon realizes that it was all a dream. He is shocked because he saw a dream for the first time in forever. He wakes up and finds out that he fell asleep an hour ago. He can see the ceiling and his fat hands. Soon, he is shocked because he doesn't change into his smart body this time. He wonders if his other body disappeared and if this is because of the liquor or because he overslept. He always thought this day could come, but the sense of loss was deeper than he had predicted. He puts up his clothes and runs toward that place, hoping smart Daniel will be there. Soon, he reaches there and finds his drunk, unconscious self. He is relieved that he didn't change, but the problem is why he didn't change. Soon, they all turn toward him and were surprised to see him there. They ask him who he is, think they have seen him before, and remember he is the fatty from the convenience store. Daniel wonders what he should do now and what he should say to them. Suddenly, the friendly expressions on their faces have been replaced by the look of hungry hyenas. They ask him if he has come there to take another photo of him and are looking down on him like he was riffraff. Zoe, who had a crush on him a while ago, is now looking down on him. The restaurant owner comes to him and asks him about his identity or get out of there. Daniel is just thinking about his body and wondering how to take him. He doesn't understand why he didn't change. There is a possibility that he was so drunk that he couldn't regain consciousness. However, he is confused about how he explains taking his body home. Suddenly, Zack runs toward him and hugs him, saying he is very happy to see him there. He calls him Piggy and shouts at his friends not to touch his piggy and shouts at them for insulting his mother. He offers Daniel a drink and asks why he is there. Daniel replies that he is there to get a friend, and they are shocked when he tells them that Daniel is his friend. He thinks it's a lie since Daniel is not his friend, but they are one person. Zoe asks him if he is the friend Daniel lives with, but he tells a lie and says the boy who lives with him ordered him to get him. They are now sure that the boy who lives with Daniel is a gangster, and he is just a slave for gangsters at night. They call him a loser who runs errands during working hours. Meanwhile, Zoe gets happy and asks him if he knows where Daniel lives. They get pity on him, and one of them agrees to delete his nude pictures and also apologize to him for beating him. Zack also gets up and says he will show him something good as a gift of reconciliation. He puts smart Daniel on his shoulders, and Zack takes them to an arcade. They show him a punch game while he is confused about what he is doing there. The others brag that they are the champions of this game and start fighting each other over who is the best one among them. Zack calls him and asks him to look closely. He asks him to guard his cheek with his arm like he is doing, making his stance wider than his shoulders. He also asks him to bring in his arms parallel centered over his butt and makes a basic posture. Daniel wonders why he is telling all this. While Zack asks him to take one step forward, he puts his weight in the order of pelvis shoulders fist, pushes his shoulder first, and stretches out his arm. He is trying to land a punch successfully, and he shows this by doing this. He makes a new record of 892 points, and Zack says he can fight back now in case someone hits him. However, if someone dodges them, he is screwed then. His friends ask him to go home, and Piggy understands what he says. After that, they all split up their ways, and Daniel was relieved that he got out of the situation without getting beaten up. He then looks toward the boxing game and wonders if he should give it a shot. He checks if there is anyone, but there is no one. He has hit nothing but the wall at home, and this will be his first real punch. He tries to repeat what Zack taught him a while ago and makes the basic posture. He then places the punch with all his might, but is shocked when he misses it. He then puts smart Daniel on his shoulder and leaves by saying it's not his thing. Unate Vasco is also there and watches him go from a distance. His friend comes to him and asks what he is looking at, but he doesn't reply and asks him to go to the punch machine. He then punches with his full might and sets a new record of 910 points. He then observes that the punch machine has been ripped and touched by that fat guy a while ago. He looks toward him, who is going to be carrying Daniel on his shoulders. Soon, he reached his home, and after barely making it home, he waited for the effects of the booze to wear off, and after enough time had passed, he shook the body. He then woke up again in his other body, and he was a fact that in a state of lost consciousness. He couldn't change bodies until he had recovered. The next day, after school, Zack stands outside the school where two girls praise his height and style. He has a date with Mira today and is waiting for her. A few hours earlier, Mira told her friend she was heading to the library later since school finished early that day. Zack called her, said he was also going to the library, and asked her to accompany her. She refuses by saying he would again get into a fight if he went. Zack tried to resist and said he didn't always look for a scrap, but she replied that she hated fighting. He promised her that he wouldn't fight again and is now waiting for her outside the library. He is determined not to fight today and will show extreme patience. Meanwhile, Mira appears there and asks if he is there early, while he thinks she looks so pretty in casual clothes. She is surprised that he seems very ready for this, and he has brought a luxury clutch, got his hair waxed, and put on his favorite t-shirt. He has no idea what the library looks like since it's his first time going to such a place. His first impression is that the place feels neat and tidy, and he hopes that time crawls by sitting next to her and studying and eating together. Mira asks him to go to the third floor, and Zack is happy that she is with him. Soon, he becomes angry and bored because they have separated the boys' and girls' rooms. The seats were full in the co-ed room, so they had to sit in separate rooms, and Zack's plan all failed. He scrapes the table with a cutter and disturbs other students. A student calls him and asks if he can be quiet, but he stares at him furiously. Suddenly, he remembers his promise and puts a fake smile on his face. Meanwhile, Mira texts him and asks him to go to the snack bar since she is hungry. On the other side, the same adult from the previous night follows his girlfriend to the library. She asks him why he follows her, and he replies that he wants to have a date with her and let her study simultaneously. She asks him why he drank a few days ago, and he replies that it was the celebration for the upcoming stats. He makes her fun, saying she looks like a bully, but actually, she is a top student. She shouts at him and asks him to keep it down since people are listening. The other students are listening to them and are getting disturbed by their conversation. The students get up and start leaving. Suddenly, the girl sees Zach and remembers him from last night. He also remembers that he is the wussiest one, and he doesn't like that even those hoodlums from that school come to study. He likes Mira, but his girlfriend doesn't like this. After a while, Zach observes that there are a lot of couples who have come there with different purposes. There is also a couple who are dating, and Zach thinks they are going to be so proud to have studied after hanging out like that. He gets up and comes outside, asking Mira to come after a while. He comes to smoke since he can't tell her about this and thinks he will come there again tomorrow. Some students stare at him, but he stares at them back furiously. Meanwhile, a woman asks him for directions, and he hides his cigarette and tells her the directions. Mira is watching him through the window, and Zach's cigarette is burning out, and he is worried about its price. Meanwhile, the adult from last night appears there with his friend and says he is very polite. He asks him about his friends and asks him to call all of them now. On the other hand, Daniel's mother is going to his home and is worried about his health. Meanwhile, Fat Daniel is sleeping, and the other one is coming back from school. Those boys surround Zach and ask him to call his friends. They don't take him seriously since he was crying the last night when he was drunk. One of them explains that this kid looks like a bully, but he is a crybaby. Zach asks if they want to try something with him, but he remembers his promise that he needs to be patient in order to impress Mira. He asks them to go and says he will let them consider this their lucky day. But they start laughing at him and make him fun, asking if he lost his marbles. Zach again says he will let them go and asks them not to come around, but they don't seem to understand him. One of them says it was boring waiting for him. Zach again goes to the canteen and asks Mira if she needs anything. She replies that she will have a soda, and he goes to bring one. Suddenly, the boys interrupt and demand to give cakes, calling him a loser. Zach forbids them from cutting in, but they stare back and ask what he will do. The stronger one blocks his way and says they are busy while Zach clenches his finger and asks himself to be patient. Mira asks him if he is fighting again, but he takes her outside, saying no one is fighting. He asks her to go inside the library while one of them says he is playing nice in front of his girl. After some time, Zach comes to his table where he put honey butter chips a while ago, but it's not there. The same boys from earlier are there and are eating his chips. He goes to them and demands his chips, but they call him a loser and ask him for proof that the chips belong to him. He is getting furious but tries to hold himself. He sits at his table, but they continue to tease him by doing different things. He gets really angry and stares at them to stop doing this, but they don't seem to be bothered by his eyes. After a while, they start laughing at him badly, and the other students are getting disturbed because of them. Zach gets up and comes out of the room. He sits on a bench, trying to hold back his anger, but is aggressive. Meanwhile, Mira appears there and asks if something is wrong with him. She asks him if those guys are trying to start something, but he smiles and says there is nothing wrong with him. In an instant, one of them comes and grabs his head and asks if she is his girlfriend. Zach gets angry because he messed up his hair, and it took him 40 minutes to set them. The students pity him, thinking they have bullied him. Zach tries to act cool and asks if they can leave them alone, but one of them asks Mira for her contact number, which angers him. She refuses to give her contact number, and the boy asks her why she is with that loser. Mira gets angry, asks him to behave himself, and calls Zach to go from there. They again make his fun and call him a loser since he is leaving already. Zach gets up and is about to leave when the boy puts his hand on Mira's shoulder and asks for her phone number. Zach loses his control and punches him with his full might so that his teeth break. His friends are shocked to see his condition that Zach knocked him out with one punch. He apologizes to Mira and says he can't keep his promise. His friends come to him angrily when they hear some students talking about Zach. He is an ace boxer. They seem scared of him now, while Zack is ready to fight them, saying they shouldn't have touched Mira. He then jumps upon them and starts beating them. After that, he turns toward the girls who were making her fun a while ago and says she is all natural and hasn't done any surgery. The boys are lying on the ground in an injured state, thinking high schoolers can fight very well. On the other hand, Daniel's mother goes to his home, where his fat body is falling asleep, and thinks he must have been exhausted. She wonders if she should wake him, and he must be surprised to see her. After some time, smart Daniel comes home and finds someone's presence inside, which is very unusual for him. At the same time, Zack texts Mira and apologizes to her for breaking his promise and that he didn't want that. But she seems angry with him and says she doesn't like that. He is sad at thinking there is all over between him and Mira. However, she seems impressed by him and wants to text him to see if he wants to go to the library with her. At the same time, Daniel enters his home when his mother is trying to wake up his fat body and calls her mom. She doesn't recognize him and asks who he is. He is shocked to see her there and wonders how he will explain this to her. He will also face a problem if she wakes his other body up. He then calls her ma'am, asks if she is Daniel's mother, and says he has heard so much about him. His mother seems surprised to hear this. He tells the story of how they both live together to save on rent, and Daniel sleeps before heading to his part-time job. He tells her Daniel has an after-school job to pay his living expenses. She smiles and says he has all grown up and has started taking on his responsibilities. She then asks him his name, and smart Daniel replies he is also Daniel Park. She can see their similarities, too, and asks him if he has time to chat since she wants to hear about Daniel. He takes her to a nearby cafe, where the reception boy welcomes them. He recognizes him as the fashion department transfer student who has come to his cafe. All the people start staring at him and appreciating his beauty. Daniel's mother is amazed to see his popularity. Daniel calls her and asks what she wants to drink. She says he seems pretty popular, and Daniel must be jealous of him, but he can't tell her that he is her son Daniel. She replies that she will have an Americano, but is surprised to see their prices. She grabs his hand and says the place is expensive, so they should go elsewhere. Daniel is shocked at this. She will only have water when she asks if water is free there. Daniel observes that it was her first time coming to a cafe. Before that, he had an Americano a few times when his mother had instant coffee, but he didn't think of her even once during those times. Seeing her there for the first time felt so natural to him, and she really enjoyed her first Americano. At that moment, she thinks of him and asks if his Don Daniel has tried this before, which hurts him severely. He is embarrassed that he willingly neglected his mother. At the same time, the waiter tells Unate and his friends that the newbie student is there with his friend's mother and asks them not to fight, otherwise he will get fired. Daniel's mother talks about his childhood and says he was always the top student in primary school. When she is talking with him, he thinks he never had a talk like this before with his mother, and they aren't any closer to each other. After a while, he thinks he needs to change bodies and get to work. Then he looks toward the waiter, recognizes him, and remembers he is the nice guy from the architecture department. Suddenly, his mother asks if she can take those boxes and says this is embarrassing, but he can't let them pass. Daniel is shocked to hear that she collects scraps, and she forbids him from telling anyone about this since he would be embarrassed. She then gives him 5,000 wons, thanks him for looking out for Daniel, and hopes that they will both be friends. Daniel is shocked to see that her sleeves are all torn, and she requests that he not bully Daniel for her. He holds his tears, asks her not to worry, and thanks her for everything. She then leaves without meeting him, saying she doesn't want to wake him and just came to bring some food for him. She promises him to return on his birthday, and he just sees her leaving, thinking her back is so tiny and that she has been carrying such a load. He thinks his real body has to change for her. Meanwhile, Vasco calls him from behind, says he saw everything, and says he is out of line. He asks him to follow him, and he will mess him up, while Daniel is surprised at his sudden call. He takes him to an abandoned building and asks him to prepare for a fight. He removes his jacket, and Daniel doesn't understand what is happening there. Vasco asks him to come to him and start the fight while Daniel wonders why he wants to fight him. A while ago, when Daniel was talking to his mother and telling her that the fat Daniel wasn't being picked on and that he was working hard at the convenience store, He remembered the fat Daniel from the other day. He thought the lady must be his mother, and Daniel must make them fight and treat him like a horse. Daniel tells him that he is not being mistreated at all, and when she gives him 5,001, Vasco misunderstands that he is bullying his mother. He says he will not forgive him and will be unable to take advantage of anyone. Daniel tries to tell him something, but he jumps upon him and tries to punch him. He reacts on time and dodges his attack, while Daniel is shocked at why he is doing this, and he thinks Vasco is nice. He prepares another attack, thinking their fight won't be easy because he is good at dodging. He can see through that Daniel has done a crazy amount of training, and he tried very hard to become a bully. Daniel again tries to tell him that there has been a mistake, but he tries to attack him, saying he is just making excuses. He tries to attack him repeatedly this time, but he dodges him every time. Daniel is shocked that he is fast and heavy like a hammer, and if he gets him, then he is dead. Vasco finds something strange and thinks he is trained, but he seems to—
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.